So, good morning, first of all. अभी good morning का time है. Thank you so much for taking out time on a Saturday. I know all these programs are conducted on Sunday, so that was the main question which I was asked when we were calling. That how come it is Saturday, because it is always on Sunday, like Bhupesh sir was also saying. So all thanks to Professor Pant for giving me this opportunity to be here. And as Dr. Sharma said, thank you so much for supporting me throughout for the past 2 months. In fact, this event had been planned before pandemic. And we announced, sir, if you remember, in March or April, it was supposed to be there. And within the starting of that week, lockdown was announced and the entire thing got cancelled. And but then we are able to make it after 4 years. So I'm happy to be here. I expected a lot school counselors to be here because what we are going to discuss will help them a lot. But it seems that being a third Saturday, a lot of schools are having their PTMs. But I really liked when I was sharing my concern with Dr. Pant, he said, "Tumhe bheed kyun chahiye?" I said, "Haan, nahi chahiye." So all of us are a part of the system and we are going to take it forward. So that's what I believe in. So as Dr. Sharma said that I will just introduce myself. And why I'm introducing myself, because that is related to this counseling, to quantum counseling. So I will start with my journey from school, right? So when I was in school, I took up PCM, क्योंकि अच्छे बच्चे साइंस लेते हैं, तो मैं अच्छी बच्ची थी और थोड़े से ज़्यादा मार्क्स उस समय 70% बहुत ज़्यादा होते थे. So I took up science, physics, chemistry, maths, and then we used to call the fifth subject as the extra subject because it was not counted in best of 4. And I took up psychology. And I said, psychology kaun padega? And the entire year, actually, I did not study psychology. I studied it only towards the end when the board exam was going to hit. And I fell in love with the subject. And this is how I continued studying psychology throughout. In my BA, MA, then I did a counseling course. And one of my batchmate, not batchmate actually, junior is here. Senior in years, but junior in the batch. So we did this counseling course. And after that, I started my journey in NCERT, being a research associate. Now, all of us were discussing CBSE and NCERT. This was not the part of the slide, but I thought I must share this. And there I started working with the head of the department on a project, if you remember, Dr. Nirmala Gupta, on a project which was called as Counseling Case Management Guide. So we analyzed 500 cases, and I actually zeroed down to these 500 unique cases, and we started developing, that what kind of conversations a counselor can have with these counseling cases. Beautiful book, but nobody is aware of it. Why? Because NCERT does a lot of projects like this and dumps it into the Almiras. So after a few years when I went, I was told, "Oh, Meenu, we have thanked you in that because you were the one who initiated it." I said, "Where is the book? I haven't received a copy." "Oh, it's lying in the cupboard." So for years, it's been lying in the cupboard. So this is how our education system is trying to evolve. We do researches, but we don't take it out. We just stack it in the shelf. Then I worked in schools. And when I was working in one such school, I happened to be in touch with Dr. Pant in 1998. And he said he was working on online education. And I joined him. I started working with him, developed certain programs online for school students. And that was, the time when we used to dial and connect to the network. So I used to say, just to develop the program, I take so much of time in dialing, waiting. Who is going to do it, online? But still he kept on pressurizing, no, you do it. And then he said, "Why don't you come up with online counseling? Why don't you create your own platform?" I said, "Dr. Pant, who has the laptop? Oh, laptop to tha hi nahi." I said, "Who has the computers and who is going to take the counseling?" And I came from that conversational viewpoint that counseling means face-to-face. So I said, no, I'm a psychologist. It needs a personal touch. I need to see the body language, the client needs to see my body language, and it cannot be done online. And I rejected the idea in 98. That means 25 years back, because my son was 6 months old that time. And today, I'm having this session counseling to quantum counseling. And I don't reject any idea now, because I learned it hard way that counseling therapy can be done online, not only online. People don't need me. It can be done by an AI bot. We are not talking about the effectiveness, what are the pros and cons, but it can be done. The world doesn't need me. It will be done. There are so many self-help sites, self-help books, so everything can be taken care of. So why I'm talking about this? Because I felt that I was not aware as a counselor that this can be done, but Dr. Pant had a vision. I lacked that vision that time. But today I can see that it is not only quantum counseling. So when I say counseling to quantum counseling, basically it reflects two things. One is moving from the traditional approach of counseling to quantum counseling. And another is the way counseling used to be done a few years back. That means, like, I started my career in 96, so almost 28 years back. And how counseling is done today, and how counseling will be done in the quantum world. So it's not only AI, generative AI, but when people will be using quantum in their careers also, and in the job profiles, in the industries, then the profile will change. And here, I'm not so interested in talking about that what are the basic principles of quantum or AI, because I don't know. Please, all technical questions should go to Dr. Pant and not to me, because I don't know. But I'm going to use quantum metaphorically in counseling. And this is so important. When I started circulating this workshop almost 2 months back, first of all, it got ignored. Then some counselors called me, what are you doing? What is this quantum? Then I started searching the speakers, and this was a normal query and normal concern. I don't know anything about quantum. I cannot speak on this. Instead of exploring what does it mean, it was a clear-cut no from a counselor and from a career counselor who is going to guide students for future. And I failed to convince quite few of them, and they are not here. And then I thought that it's okay. Somebody has to start talking about it. I will make that move. I will not stop. And this is how I'm here. So now, as far as moving from traditional counseling to quantum counseling is concerned, I'm sure all of you must have gone through counseling by chacha, dada, uncle, or your elder sister or parents. So that is common. So what do you think what counseling is all about? Okay, why is it horrible? Okay, okay. What else? सर बट वो काउंसलिंग है क्या? आप उसे हॉरिबल तो कह रहे हैं, बट क्या वो काउंसलिंग है? पता नहीं, लेकिन आपको लगता है कि वो काउंसलिंग है. एनीवन एल्स, व्हाट डू यू थिंक व्हाट इज काउंसलिंग? कुछ एक रफ आइडिया? ओके, okay. Shall I? Okay. Come. That will be good otherwise. So he said remedy. Mm-hmm. Hmm. 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 So you're right. So you're right, counseling can be done in different areas. It can be educational, social, emotional, career, but there is some common principle of counseling, and all the areas of counseling are based on that. So when we say counseling in a typical, yeah, legal counseling is a little different. Okay, one thing is common expert advice. So if I define it technically, counseling is actually a professional helping relationship where there are two people, one who needs help, the other person who is expert, as you said, in giving this help, and the situation which allows this help to happen. And this must have reminded you about Cormier and Hackney definition. So yes, as far as it's important to understand what counseling is all about, it's equally important to understand what counseling is not all about. So counseling is not giving remedies. Counseling is not deciding about someone else's life. Counseling is not giving advice or suggestions. Counseling is not only information giving. Counseling basically aims at helping a person to make their own choices. You give them various options, so they make their own decisions. So we say that we aim at making a person as self-directing individual. And please, both of you, please feel free to pitch in wherever you want to. So if I say, these are the four very, very important components of counseling. Now, why I'm discussing this? Because we will move with these four components to quantum counseling, right? Now, if I ask you, what do you think, when did counseling begin? From Krishna. Thank you so much. So, counseling actually began with Krishna. When Arjun was a little confused what to do. I'm coming to that. Yes, I will go back. It, there is a difference. That is the typical. That is a typical technical model. No, this is a typical technical what you are saying. But when we look at the concept of counseling, that someone can give you some kind of direction, someone can help you in making an informed decision. No, no. Alka would like to say something.
Sir, so what I will suggest here is, I am not here to contradict you, but this particular example is an example of a person who is going to stand up against his cousins. और उस ज़माने में cousins नहीं सभी भाई होते थे. वो 100 उन भाइयों के against खड़ा हो रहा है और वो नहीं खड़ा होना चाहता है, अपने गुरु के against खड़ा हो रहा है. Here it is their relationship is that of a sakha. It is not a guru. So if you're saying ki he was taking some kind of a teaching, learning, he was not in that process. He was able to be convinced by somebody who could reason out that here is a crisis and these are your options. He never said कि तुम युद्ध करो या हाथ में शस्त्र उठाओ. He just gave out options, which is what most of us counselors do. So this is a metaphor again, as we are using quantum and as we are using various other metaphors.
Yeah.
What happens in a church, in a confessional? Churches came much later. We all know when Christianity started. So a confessional is when you go in, there is a box and there is a priest who's just behind that curtain, which is, of course, you cannot see the priest, and the priest is not supposed to look at who is coming for their confession. So just the mere thing that he's sharing his angst or his so-called sin, Father, I have sinned, and he shares something, that is in itself a huge relief. And counseling actually provides that initial pressure cooker se release that you have been building up all this time. Therefore, let's not talk about education, let's not talk about what relationships they had. But typically, if he's a friend and he could make a person stand up against a bunch of family.
See,
So
what
this is my little understanding. Yeah.
Psychologically also that's not correct. Fact of matter is that it was all 18 chapters which is given one by one. It was highly philosophical.
So exactly, that is.
It is not only meant for individual, it was meant for general system.
So
To consider it as a side counseling is a total misnomer.
So she's not saying that it is not counseling. What she is trying to say is she's
See, there are certain
trying
skills.
to, yeah.
So
She
there
is
are-
trying to make a,
Historically or conceptually.
I have this. I have this. There are certain skills, we give examples. We give examples.
18 chapters he spoke. Which part of the skill he talked? He talked about quite general. Any chapter.
He listened to Arjuna without any evaluation. So that is the non-judgmental listening, non-evaluative listening. Here we are not saying. Yes. Yeah, and it's basically showing a situation where he's confused and he's not able to make a decision, and that's what a counselor does. That when a client is not able to make a decision, how you help the person to be self-directing to make the informed decisions in that particular situation. So if you look back, when we talk about quantum, if we look back at Vedas and Vedantas and Upanishads, they also talk about a lot of things. Vedantas, I have also explained, what are the psychological constructs, may it be buddhi, may it be cognition, may it be emotions. So even in this, when they describe buddhi, they actually include the component of emotions also, which nowadays we call it as EQ, emotional intelligence. So if we look at these ancient Indian scriptures, you will see that, a lot of things were already there. And if we look at it, a lot of therapies we can, infer from these all kinds of books. So, and all the Upanishads are basically in a story form. If you compare the two, all the Vedas are basically what were told, to people, on the basis of that Vedas were written. And as far as Upanishads were concerned, it's based on the Smriti, that whatever people remembered, they converted into various kinds of stories so that people can relate to it and people can understand, and some kind of life skills, they can learn that how to lead a life. So if we look at all the analysis and researches which have been done on Ved, Vedanta and Upanishads, these are some principles of Vedic counseling, which are there. And if you look at the contemporary counseling principles, it's almost the similar. So may it be to counsel only those who seek guidance. That is the first principle of counseling which we learn in the professional course, that you can only counsel those who want to be counseled. It has to be voluntary. You cannot force. It cannot be like as a school counselor or as a parent, I see that, oh, she's undergoing some problem, so let me just walk up to her and let me give all my gyan. It won't help. It won't help. It will not work at all because the mind is closed. The person says that I don't want counseling from you, then why are you, after my life? So it has to be on voluntary basis. Second, very, very important principle is to listen in a non-judgmental and a non-evaluative way. It happens many a times the moment we are listening to others, we start evaluating, whether she's saying right, wrong, what. So in counseling, the listening has to be really, really non-evaluative. And this reminds me of a case, and maybe all three of us can come up with thousands of cases. So this girl shared in a school, she was in grade 11, and she came and she shared something which was not socially desirable behavior, like going around with a person, having a relationship with a person who was almost 15 years elder to this girl. And the moment she said the first line, she kept looking at my face. And I said, yes, go on. She said, would you like to listen to more? I said, of course. She said, oh, nobody gave me this space. I was so scared to share this with anyone, but you have given me that comfortable space. And she was thrilled to see that I'm not evaluating her. And this is how she went on speaking, and just listening to that, I did not force anything onto her, and the case was solved. So many times, all of us need that ear, where a person can just listen, should not act, should not react, should not evaluate, but just listen to me. And, and we feel that my problem is solved. And while speaking only, sometimes we come up with the solutions. The third one is to understand the personality and capacity of the subject. So, that is the main aim of counseling when I said that it's basically when you help the person to unleash the potential. He can be in touch with himself, his capabilities, his potentialities, so that you can tell him, you can channelize those potentialities to a greater behavior. I will jump to the sixth one, to feel connected to the whole and not to a part. I think in quantum, this is the main thing which when I was reading about quantum, because like the other psychologists and other counselors who were not willing to listen to me that I'm doing a session on quantum counseling, even I was scared. I was thinking how to tell Dr. Pant that I don't know anything about quantum, So this was the main thing which I found, and this is the basics of any kind of therapy and any kind of counseling, and how we will talk more about it. So this was a very interesting saying which I came across. Quantum theory will not look ridiculous to people who have read Vedanta. I don't know much about this physicist, but I was very much fascinated by okay.
46 सेक्टर और पुलिस को एक कंप्लेंट मिली कि एक चोर है जो चोरी कर रहा है कहीं पर। तो पुलिस क्या करेगी? अब पता तो नहीं है ना कि राहुल जी के घर में है या भूपेश भाई के घर में घुसा हुआ है। तो दे विल सर्च एवरीवेयर देयर। अकॉर्डिंग टू देम द थीफ कैन बी एनीवेयर, बट एज सुन एज पिन पॉइंट द लोकेशन कि वो विशाल जी के घर में है, then this phenomenon it will collapse and you know that it is exactly here. फिर बाकी चीज़ें वहाँ से हट जाती हैं. So this is that uncertainty. You don't know where it is. It can be anywhere, everywhere, like that.
So if I relate it to counseling, although that slide is later, but I will just pick it up here only because as you explained uncertainty. So when a counselor is dealing with a client, this is all uncertainty. Because you never know that if a client is coming with a problem, whether that is the actual problem or not. So, you start hunting that where is the root cause of the problem, and the moment you know the root cause, the system collapse, the counseling is done. Because then you know where to aim at. And that's sometimes is a difficult task, because what seems very obvious, sometimes it is not very obvious. I will give an example for that when the slide comes. So, generally the process of counseling is this. And now let's try to see how we can apply the quantum principles in all these stages. Out of this, relationship building is the most important thing. Because when you are trying to build up a relationship with the client who is coming is influenced by all these people, When we say family, so parents, siblings, uncle, aunt, chacha, everybody has already influenced this particular individual in some or the other way. Geographical region. Any idea why geographical region? Yeah, not only that, but even if you go to these remote areas like hill stations, and or deserts, Rajasthan, आप जाइए, वहाँ पे लोगों की problems ही different हैं, right? So if you say school jana means totally different there. In hilly area, going to school means walking up to 6 kilometers. And climbing up, climbing down. So their entire lifestyle changes. When their entire lifestyle changes, their culture also changes. And when I say going to school here in Delhi, when we used to enter, I used to see a lot of parents when they are nursery class or first class children, when they are going inside, lots of hugs, lots of kisses, as if he's going for a war, I felt like telling them, don't worry, he will be back, at 12 o'clock, he will be fine, we will take care. So, that kind of separation anxiety parents used to have more than the, child. So, geographical region that way matters a lot. Relatives, because my family might have a different kind of mindset, different kind of philosophy or attitude towards life, but relatives might have a different kind of attitudes. But as a child, I'm being influenced by that. Whether it has been spoken to me or not, but it reaches me, right? Similarly, school, friends, teachers, and those teachers, friends are coming with their own set of beliefs. So when you're dealing with a client, actually you are dealing with the universe. I feel like this because you never know what will come up that he has been influenced by what. And this friends come in hot because when we talk about, like here especially we are talking about the high school students. So friends play a very, very major role. Whatever as a parent, as a professional, whatever you keep saying, but whatever friends have said, friends have the greatest influence on the development of the child, may it be anything, yeah. Yes, yes. So social media influence is everywhere. I have not put it anywhere, I'm sorry for that. But social media influence is everywhere. And in fact, social media influence is to such a great extent that today's children, they don't know how to express their emotions. Because they're feeling something else inside and they are posting something else on the website. And you never know. Like I give you an example, there was a girl, in our school, we never allowed, these eyeliners, and girls are very fond of, getting ready and all. So I always used to tell her, whatever name is, that, please remove the eyeliner, principal will not be happy. So one fine day when I saw her, she was just laughing loud in the corridor. I said, "Oh, Nell," and I just said this, "Ma'am, today is the last day," because she was a class 12 student and pre-board exam just got over. And I said, "Why don't you just go back home because your exams are over, you better get prepared for your board practicals." She said, "Ma'am, last day, let me just chat with my friends." I said, "Okay." So she went to her classroom and they were chatting and somebody complained. I said, "I know about this girl, let them talk because this is the last day. Because after that, board practicals." Next day I come to school. As soon as I enter the staff room, and not very usual, the staff room, there is pin drop silence. And I wonder what happened. I said, "Is everything fine? Has principal scolded us or what?" This said, Onel has committed suicide. And I was like, what? Yesterday I saw her. She was laughing around and she did say it is my last day. But it was the last working day of the school. And then I got to know early in the morning, she has said, happy, some good post she wrote. So nobody expected anything. So till date, after so many years, I keep wondering as a counselor, why did she do that? So sir, you very rightly said that is a major factor. And I can go on with case studies like that, where 8th class kid getting cyberbullied by such people and he doesn't know what to do and he doesn't know whom to approach. So this entire system works in totality. So all these people are there. I think I can put everybody in that social media influencer because everybody is behaving in a certain way. Now we don't get calls on birthdays, we get only messages. So that is the, so if I ask you, because all of you must have interacted with young students, what do you think, what kind of problems nowadays people come up with? Of course, one is the social media. Anything which comes to your mind? तो आजकल के बच्चे बोलते हैं अरे ये आप देखते हो कि ये प्रॉब्लम ज़्यादा है